Hi there, welcome to I Love Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Virgo energy. I'll get a few of these tarot cards out. We'll get clarifiers on it to try to fill out the story of what might be going on in Virgo energy. And keep in mind, we all tap into Virgo energy. Virgo energy is that aspect of ourself where we pay attention to the details of our life because we're planning for our future and trying to make good choices in our present day life. And high vibe people come from a foundation of love and self love and respect and treating others as they would like to be treated, trying to be just and fair and self disciplined within yourself so that you don't tip into your shadow side. People who are in shadowy Virgo energy, they might do a lot of planning and organizing for their life too, but they might be trying to move a relationship forward for a reason other than love. Maybe they could be prideful, egotistical, selfish, greedy, insecure. So when they get in relationships, they kind of create more of an illusion, presenting themselves as being loving and kind and open and committed. But it's all an illusion because they're really not operating from a foundation of love. Why? I don't really know. But, then there's some people who, well, for some, they're just very materialistically driven. They think what we have to work with in the world, and the most important thing to work with, is the world. We work with what the world says we have to work with: money, materialism, status, and image, and that's how they make decisions in life. That is the driving factor in their life. And then there's other people who are emotionally defensive to being emotionally vulnerable. So therefore, they might make bad decisions in their life because they're not connected in with their own intuition, because their intuition would be like the divine or their soul telling them, like, you shouldn't do that. That's not just, that's not fair, that's not kind. And they choose to ignore that because the most important thing to them is to emotionally protect themselves, because they've been hurt in the past, but they're not willing to do the work it takes in Virgo energy to self reflect, to gain insight and wisdom about the past, kind of wrap their brain around the fact that there's hurtful people in the world. And they kind of got caught up in the negative energy of it and decided to be emotionally self defensive, and sadly, their emotional defensiveness is going to cause them to hurt other people. And, the ugly cycle of pain and heartbreak continues. We need to learn to overcome our past pain and heartbreak so that we don't get caught up in that negative energy. And then there's always the people who are maybe narcissists, where, very cruel. They just want to go out and kind of try to disrupt the foundation of people who are bold and brave and confident, who believe in themselves, because they don't. So let's take a look. Before I turn on the camera, I got some Manifestation Alchemies cards out of the Mega Oracle deck 1 and 2. And you got Rival, Abundance, Karmic. And the reason is because of being cold-hearted. When we talk about the shadow people, hopefully you and your loved ones and your friends and family and all those people are all going to move forward in high vibe Virgo energy. But even if none of you are dealing with anyone in your life who seems to be operating in shadow energy, this shadow aspect could but just be your shadow side. That's why it's so important. We don't got to compete with other people in the world. Our biggest competition in the world is to not give in to our shadow side. It's our lower vibrational emotions of jealousy, fear, insecurity, thinking we can be unjust, unkind, selfish, and greedy and still reap all the rewards in life. And that's like the devil whispering on our shoulder. It doesn't work out that way. We might get a lot of things in the world. We might get things to go our way, but it won't have the true abundance that we could have if we came from a foundation of love. So, just as we have this dualistic nature within us, there's all these people in the world who reflect these different sides of us. There's always people out in the world who want to try to bring us down into our shadow nature. They promise us that they'll give us the stability or the security or the loving relationship that we desire or the friendship or whatever. But if they're not aligned with love and they're more prideful or egotistical or fearful or insecure, they're just trying to drag you into that mentality with them so you don't go live the life of your dreams that's your like divine inheritance. And some people really are dealing with someone, and our shadow nature is kind of cold hearted. It's kind of listening to the warm, loving voice in your head, your own inner voice that's encouraging, supportive, treats you like you treating yourself with compassion and forgiveness and encouragement. Or you can listen to the more cold hearted aspect of yourself that belittles you, diminishes you, criticizes you. And again, we can align with different people in the world like that. And the whole thing is the devil on our shoulder, our own critical voice, it doesn't start out that way. First, it just tells us that we don't have to do that. We don't have to put in the work and effort. We can be lazy. We'll get everything we want. And just like the people in the world who want to tempt us to not act with character and integrity and believe in ourselves and pursue our dreams and put in work and effort with the people we truly love and are inspired by, those people initially don't come across as really nasty and ugly either. But over time, when we don't act with character and integrity and we're not proud of ourselves, our self esteem goes down more and more and more. And that once nice voice in our head that told us we didn't have to do it starts to get really harsh and critical and belittling us and berating us. And who the hell do we think we are? And why would anybody want to be in a relationship with us? Blah, blah. And the same way with those other people in our life. They all sound sweet and innocent initially, but if they can suck you in to being in a friendship group or a work situation or a love connection with them, if they listen to the own devil on their own shoulder, that inner critical voice that they listen to is going to come out towards you eventually too, because that's what they're aligned with inside. Some people right now, hopefully just people are being tempted by someone who's not aligned with love. It's kind of like they're battling against the forces of good and love. They're promising, both aspects of ourself and both different types of people in the world that we could align with. They both promise abundance. We can have a lot of abundance if we have faith in ourselves and belief in ourselves and are encouraging to ourselves. And we could probably have a lot of abundance needless in the 3D world if we decide to ignore love. We can have abundance on either path. But one of them is cold-hearted. And that's the people and those aspects of ourself that align more with pride, ego, fear, insecurity, selfishness, greed, lust, indulgence, thinking we don't have to be just and fair in a relationship and we can still get all the bounty. So there could be some people in their Virgo nature right now who are really battling within themselves. They're meant to be a spiritual leader in the world. If you overcome your own fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs, that's when you can help other people. And some people are meant to tap into that. I think everyone's meant to tap into that. I think we're all meant to gain insight and wisdom from the past, which is what we do in our Virgo energy, to shed light on it. It's not to belittle and berate yourself and shame yourself for having been a fallible human being. We're human beings. We make mistakes. The great thing is, if we learn from our mistakes, we can move forward in our life. If we keep listening to our belittling voice in our head, our shaming voice in our head, we just kind of sink further down into the pit of not feeling proud of ourselves. And there's some people right now, sadly, that are listening more to that belittling voice and maybe aligning themselves with people in the world who are also aligned with that kind of energy. And those people, you know, you even high vibe people could have someone in your life right now who's being very karmic and cold hearted to you because they are competing with you. High vibe people don't compete with other people really because they know that I don't have to compete with anyone. All I got to do is make sure I don't fall into my own pit of hell. I don't defeat myself. And I'm golden. I trust the divine. I keep doing the things that make me feel proud of myself, that acting with character and integrity, treating myself with respect, offering love and respect to other people and kindness. If people reciprocate that, great. If they don't, I wish them peace and I move forward. Well, there's people in the world who are karmics where they like to present themselves as being all of that, but they're not. It's all a mask. It's all a facade. And they definitely don't like that, they look probably, people who wear masks, like narcissists and all that kind of stuff, they like to present themselves as a pillar of society and stable and a family person and all that, but they're really not. They just wear a mask. They're actually cold-hearted, and they're probably very materialistic, very selfish and greedy. Abundance can mean I want the scales to tip in my favor. When I'm in a relationship, I want everyone to orient around me. I want to be the center of attention. I want to be emotionally defensive and self-protective. People are just supposed to indulge me in a relationship. That can be about wanting abundance also, in addition to the worldly things, the pride, the ego, the image, the status. And people who probably really are narcissists, when they look out at the world, that's why I have these mirrors here. When they look out at the world, they think everyone's like them. They think everyone's wearing a mask. Everybody's putting on a show and a facade. They probably think everybody's cold-hearted and emotionally defensive. And they're definitely, when they see loving people out in the world who are kind and giving, they just think, how do you do that damn mask that good? How do you seem so comfortable with yourself? How do you seem so like at peace and joyful within yourself? Because they're not. That's because they don't come from a foundation of love within themselves. It's just a facade, a mask. They're really in lower emotions of jealousy, envy, greed, selfishness, pride, ego. They're competing with everyone in the world. And they wonder why don't you seem like you're competing with everyone in the world like them? And for some of you, there's always people out there in the world, who are willing to be aligned with either one of these energies. You could have someone you love and they're being tempted by people in their life who are wearing false masks, who are competing against you because they're very competitive and they're very cold-hearted. And they might want to kind of take over the life of the person, of someone you love. I mean, you could even look at that as drugs, alcohol, sex, addictions. Any energy that's competing with you isn't loving because love doesn't compete. So there either could be karmic type energy forces in the world that are really cold-hearted, who are trying to take people out of your life, and you just hope and pray that your person that you love doesn't get caught up in those emotional negative energies. But it's a battle they have to fight within themselves. Again, you can offer them love and encouragement, but if they're kind of, I don't know, acting in ways that aren't respectful or loving with you, you do distance yourself from them. And for other people, it's actual people that try to influence people that you love in order to sway them to live a more shadowy life. Oh, you should live your life, focus more on money and materialism, not love. They could hurt you. I think, and so they instill fear and insecurity in the person that you love in order to make them be fearful and insecure too. Or other people try to seduce people, because they want, maybe for some of you, someone you love, in order to focus on them. So what is abundance? And like I say, some people it's just within themselves. And some people have already lost the battle for now. The universe will keep working on them. You might have distanced yourself if you've seen that they're very cold-hearted, and they definitely compete in the world. They're greedy, they're selfish, they're prideful, they're egotistical. Those people right now are either aligning with whatever they think will give them that worldly satisfaction. Again, it could be drugs, alcohol, sex, laziness, indulgence, or getting in a relationship with someone who, unbeknownst to them, is really going to teach them a lesson of how miserable it is to maybe be in a relationship with someone like themselves. So let's go see. We have the Queen of Cups, Scorpio energy, Temperance, Sagittarius energy, Nine of Swords, Gemini energy, and what's not being shown or being rejected is Seven of Pentacles, Taurus energy. And the reason for the reading is the Ace of Cups and the Five of Wands, Leo energy. The divine keeps trying to offer people love. It's our divine inheritance. You can sit in ugly emotions and thoughts all you want. It's your free will. But every day we have the free will choice to say, I choose not to do that. It doesn't really make me happy to be fearful or insecure or jealous or envious or in self-pity or focused on the past relationships that didn't work out. The divine says you have the free will choice to be in the energy of love every day. When you're in the energy of love, love is what heals things, and that can help us get over our more shadowy emotions and thoughts, help us get over the past pain of the past. But for one thing, people have to get over their own pride and ego. Some people, I don't know, it's kind of like, if you just looked at the world and said, do we all agree there's a dualistic nature within us? Okay, I think we'd all agree. We all know we can be really selfish and greedy and petty and mean. And, we all could go into the depths of ugliness, We also know that, we can feel deep love, especially for little children and all that kind of stuff, and we've experienced in our life. So you could just look at it that it appears to be that there are negative energies that we can tap into that can go down to the depths of atrociousness. And there's also energies that we can tap into that go to the depths of joy. Some people have inner conflict with aligning with the more joyful, happy, hopeful, believing energies. I don't know. I don't think some people, you have to think there's some divine being. I think it's just that, I believe in that. That's just the way I maybe project it and how I identify with it. But I think we could just say there's positive energies in the world and there's negative energies in the world. Get over your pride and ego of thinking it has to be a divine being or whatever. And just think of it as that there's just options to pick from. And it's like, which one do you want to align with? If the thought of thinking that there's a higher power causes people a stumbling block, well, how about we just go with, I choose to align with energies and emotions and thoughts that are more conducive to me being more at peace within myself. Who knows where that journey will end, but it'll certainly be better than sitting in the negative thoughts and emotions, you know. So, with it being pride and ego, I mean, some people have, and there too, some people just have a lot of inner conflict about love because they'd have to be emotionally vulnerable. Some people, for some people, there could have been conflict with a Scorpio or a mother figure or people's own emotional affection for the past. Maybe some of them had involved a Leo in their past, maybe a mother figure. And in order to overcome our inner conflict about stepping forward in our life, to be bold and brave, to overcome our own inner conflict that we have about moving forward in our life and letting go of being emotionally focused and attached to the past, we need to offer ourselves some self-love. We deserve to keep moving forward in our life. Always being focused on the past or like loyal to the past. The past is gone. It's not here anymore. We can only live in the present moment. Some people really want to keep repeating the same patterns of the past. But the divine wants people to move forward in love. And with love, in Sagittarius energy, they can balance out their strong emotions, because Sagittarius is fire sign energy, and fire are those like strong emotions that make us want to take action. And some of those can be, it can be passion, lust, greed, happiness, sadness, inner conflict, pride, ego, joy, wantiness, I want, But if we don't want to keep repeating patterns of the past and we want to move forward in our life and overcome our inner conflict or our pride and our ego or our stubbornness, if we try to temper with love and compassion and forgiveness and try to have more balance and harmony in our life, we can temper those strong emotions that we have so that we're not so much up in our head. Nine of Swords is Gemini energy. Gemini energy is about what do we love and how do we think we should go about manifesting our dreams into reality. Some people had always thought that maybe they were going to operate from pride and ego or worldliness because maybe that's a foundation like that they grew up in. And they really had a lot of love because the Scorpio energy and Queen of Cups can talk about mutual love and deep emotion for things. We all could have loved, say, when we were in high school, but when we get out of high school, we got to start working on trying to build the next phase of life, Some people want to create the same family dynamic that they had growing up in life, but that family dynamic was unique, or repeating the same type of relationship dynamic, but you're now with a different person. That each relationship and family dynamic or relationship dynamic or friendship dynamic or work dynamic, they're all unique because of the particular people that were in it at that point in time. We have to be willing to accept change and balance out our emotions so that we can let go of our stress and anxiety that we have about love. And maybe quit being a Seven of Pentacles person. And a Seven of Pentacles person could be kind of shadowy Taurus earth sign energy, which is, well, no, I just work with what the world gives me, but hey, just think about, or I can only work with what the world gives me. It's like, well, who made the world the boss? I mean, yeah, we live here, but the world can be a fickle place. One day, depending on where you live in the world and what community you live in or what town you live in, oh my gosh, appalled that a person is doing that for a living, or that they're wearing that, or they're driving that, or whatever. And you go to another part of the state or the country or the world, and if you were doing exactly what you're doing right now, everybody be appalled, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're wearing that and driving that. It's just so impractical, or it's so whatever. You know, it's like groupthink, you know? The whole thing is to be careful about what we invest in, what we invest our time, energy, and effort into. And Taurus energy talks about what is the foundation that you're going to build your life upon. Are you going to build it upon high vibe Leo energy, where you're willing to step in the spotlight of your life? You're willing to be brave and confident. Come what may, say what you want. I'm living my life because I'm here on a unique soul journey. Been given unique talent, skills, and interests that I didn't go get at a store, and the world didn't assign it to me when I was born. The divine gave me those unique talent, skills, and interests. For some people, we can build our long term stability on those things if we're emotionally brave and confident to live our own unique life. It's just like some people in the past, could have been from a family that they're all artists and creative. And it's like, oh my gosh, you want to be like a lawyer or an accountant? Oh my gosh. And then for other people, it's exact opposite. You come from lawyers and doctors and you want to be an artist or a singer or whatever. And they're like, are you kidding? You know, it's kind of interesting, right? How different people get put in these different family dynamics. And you could be the one oddball in the bunch, or it's just that everybody's really supposed to it's kind of like we're all different trees in the world, but we're all in the tree family. But oh, you make apples. Well, no, you shouldn't do apples. Apples aren't good. You should try to push out some peaches. It's like, oh, it's really hard for me to push out peaches or oranges or bananas or whatever. I'm kind of made to push out apples. It's the same thing. If I like bugs and you like numbers, someone likes science, someone likes legal shit, whatever. We're all unique human beings to be respected for our own dreams and talents and skills and interests that make us feel alive. Some people could have a Scorpio or a mother figure in their life that's very competitive. And someone has been trying to balance out their emotions about that. The universe keeps saying you should move forward in the energy of love. Wish this person love. If you want to be upset, if you have a lot of inner conflict about me moving forward with people that I love, maybe there was like a Scorpio type person who's really focused on things being like the past, and there's someone in more Sagittarius energy who looks at life as an adventure to be lived. And someone could be battling like between those two people because they battle within those two natures within themselves. Do I want to keep love? I do have love for the past and the way I grew up or the people of my past, but am I willing to, Sagittarius energies about higher education, am I willing to educate myself about belief system and philosophy so I can wrap my brain around this emotionally confusing game of life that I'm in, to try to, offer love to all aspects of myself so that we can all move forward together and quit being in a mental prison about what we're going to invest in and try to find some balance and harmony. And if there's some people in your life that are very competitive or very prideful, very egotistical and shadowy Leo energy, try to dominate you, try to be forceful on you, well, we might love them and have a deep emotional connection with them. But again, it's like, I offer you love and peace, and I'm moving forward with my life because that's my divine right to do. I am independent. I have my own unique things that I'm inspired by and that I love. And I'm going to move forward. And I hope, our best way to help other people balance out their emotions is by us staying balanced. It's like, I'm going to balance out my emotions about the situation, but the just thing to do is for me to live my unique life and be my authentic person and step in the spotlight of my own life and follow those things that I'm really inspired by, to interact with the people I truly love, because it probably had been causing people a lot of stress to invest in love and leave behind some things of their past. For some people, they could have actually been people who have a lot of inner conflict, and so they like to be in relationships with people who indulge them and mothered them. But because of being like that, people who were offering them a loving, encouraging, supportive environment can kind of get tired of that after a while. It's like, are you ever going to nurture yourself emotionally so that you don't have that inner conflict? So we could actually have an equal give and take type of relationship and balance things out. Because instead, I'm always having to make you the center of attention because of either your pride or your ego or your emotional defensiveness or your selfishness or your greed. And for some people, if it never got any better, you've been being patient with people who keep maybe even turning their back to you because they want you to compete for them. It's like, people who love me don't try to make me compete for them. They are open and honest, and they work together with me because they love me. If someone's turning their back to you, maybe because they wanted to offer their love to the competition. Some of those people could be rather being cold-hearted to you right now because they have a karmic. Let's see, what was our underlying reason? They have a karmic. So you could have someone right now who's being very cold-hearted to you, either because they're listening to their own fearful, insecure side, and that's like the karmic person or energy in their life, who's saying, don't go with that person, don't go with the loving people. We can be safe and secure, which is like a promise of abundance. We won't get hurt. So they kind of listen to their own mind, and their mind is very cold-hearted. It's all about, some people it's just about protecting themselves emotionally. For other people, they have someone in their life who might be offering them a new emotional beginning. They might be making the promise that they're going to mother them, or maybe this person would remind them of their mother. Because if they haven't learned their lessons and they're rejecting love, they have past pain and heartbreak that they haven't dealt with. And if it makes them have a lot of inner conflict about moving forward in love, little do they know, they're going to kind of get in relationships with people who might remind them of the very people who hurt them. And because someone offered them a new emotional beginning, it caused them a lot of inner conflict. They might feel, I really am drawn to that person. Well, part of the reason why you might be drawn to them is because of pride and ego, that you don't have to learn and grow and mature, and you get to keep repeating patterns of the past. Well, you can do that. You have free will. You're going to learn lessons either way. It's just the harder path. So if someone has their back to you, you've been being very patient, and you've been balancing out your own emotions, maybe about the fact that someone you love chooses to emotionally invest in competing with you, trying to cause you conflict. Because if they don't want to move forward in their life and they want to repeat patterns of relationships like they've grown up with, they might want to be in a relationship with you, but they want you to do it the way they want to do it, which is them having their inner conflict. You're just supposed to indulge them, and they get to be prideful, egotistical, selfish, greedy, reckless, whatever. And you're like, that's not how I view love. I don't think that's healthy. is causing me inner conflict, and love shouldn't cause me conflict. Love is patient and kind. So you've been balancing out your emotions, probably been being very patient with this person in your life, because some of you, it could be a parent, a child, a sibling, a friend, a coworker, you know? And for some of you, you're done kind of with the thought process about it all. And in your Seven of Pentacles, you're really considering what you're going to do next, and the universe is saying move forward in love. Love heals things. If you offered love to this person, an encouraging, supportive environment, and they didn't use that opportunity to deal with their own inner conflict and connect in with their own deep emotions to get themselves emotionally balanced, well, then that person weighed out the scales, the pros and the cons, and they decided, no, I'm not going to think about love anymore, because if you're 9 swords up in your heart, you only have 1 cup of love down in your heart. So they're stressed about love, the concept of love, the idea of love, being emotionally vulnerable. And they decided to let that go and focus on the world. That's less emotionally confusing. I'll go focus on money, materialism, my status, my image. Maybe that's what they're going to offer their love to, is their pride and ego, because they have a lot of inner conflict about love. So those are all some of the different scenarios. What you and your friends and family members and all you people that you might know who are in high vibe Virgo energy, you are tapped into your deep emotions and you're listening to your intuition, and you believe in your dreams. And then we go from 3 of Wands to 9 of Wands, a difference of 6 of Wands. And out of self-love, you're rising above any inner conflict or competitive energy someone in your life might have tried to kick up within you. To rise above it and keep moving forward in your Leo energy, being emotionally brave and strong and confident, that I believe the only way my dreams are going to come into reality is coming from a foundation of love and being with other people who have also tapped into love, who've also risen above their inner conflict and their competitive nature, and people who have learned to have good boundaries against their own shadowy, selfish, emotionally defensive way of being. So you're not tipping into your selfish, shadowy nature of fear or insecurity or competitiveness. It's like, I'm going to stay in the energy of love and keep moving forward in my dreams. And I'm going to have good boundaries to people who might make me a new emotional offer, but my intuition is telling me that they either still have a lot of inner conflict, or they're making me a love offer because they're very competitive. Maybe they want to get back at someone else, or someone who just has a lot of inner conflict or pride and ego and emotional defensiveness. It's like, I hope it works out for you. I wish you peace, but I'm moving forward and I'm going to have good boundaries against people who seem to have a lot of inner conflict about love. And in your Sagittarius energy, you're balancing out your emotions, and either what you're not showing people or what you're cutting out of your life is 10 of Swords. If this person backstabbed and betrayed you before so that they could maybe try to make you feel like you needed to compete for them with someone else, it's emotional manipulation. People are either loving, and if they're not coming from love, they are being emotionally manipulative in a relationship. And you have balanced your emotions out about the fact that someone betrayed you. For some of you, it could have been a Libra, but by you balancing out your emotions, coming from a foundation of self-love, that if somebody tried to throw you under the bus, kicked you to the curb, slandered you, whatever, was competitive, was prideful and egotistical, turn their back. They don't have good boundaries within themselves to not be in their selfish, greedy nature and emotionally defensive nature. You've brought justice to the situation. Just like the universe worked through you and you provided love and compassion and understanding to this person, when this person didn't use that opportunity to nurture themselves, to learn to have good boundaries within their own selfish, greedy, emotionally defensive nature, you brought justice to the situation by balancing your emotions out about the situation so that you no longer feel betrayed about it. The thing is, when we choose to put in the work and effort to get ourselves balanced, we offset our fearful, insecure nature, our prideful, egotistical, competitive nature with love and encouragement, whatever, because it's like, I don't want to be in those type of emotions. They're not helpful for me to moving forward. We take action within ourselves to believe in ourselves and encourage ourselves and take the action we need to take in our life to feel proud of ourselves. We self-empower ourselves. And people who operate from their shadow nature and they're staying in those lower emotions and emotional defensiveness, they're not empowering themselves. And they're really actually not proud of themselves, regardless of how egotistically they might present themselves to the world. They know they're not being emotionally brave and strong to be emotionally open and honest and loving. They're wearing a mask. And so for those people to feel a sense of power, they can feel a sense of power by doing things to people outside of them to cause them conflict, to backstab them, to slander them, to do whatever, throw them under the bus. And it gives them like a sense of power, like, oh my gosh, did you see that? And, it kind of builds them up, like they feel better about themselves by cutting you down and belittling you or hurting you. It's like a false sense of empowerment, because when people balance out their emotions about it and say, you are who you are. I don't control you and your actions, and you made the free will choice to be that way. I accept that you have responsibility for that, not me. I offered you love and respect and kindness, and you spat on it. So, when you balance out your emotions about the fact that people are prideful and egotistical or whatever, and you offered love to your own pride and ego that might have gotten kicked up by the situation, and you're no longer feeling backstabbed and betrayed, you probably just feel sorry for those people that are like that. They're not going to have a very fulfilled, loving life acting that way. And that means we got one more ugly person in the world that the world didn't need. And when you balance out your emotions about it and let it go, you've brought the universe working through you was able to bring justice to the situation, because it's just and fair that you are not staying thrown under the bus, kicked to the curb, backstabbed and betrayed. Let them say what they want. You're balanced. You're proud of yourself. They can keep repeating their patterns of the past. You're going to keep moving forward. So if there was someone in your life who is really stressed about love and being loving and treating others as they would like to be treated, you've cut that person out of your life and you're no longer stressed about love with this person. You've given them over to the divine, basically. You did your part. You offered what you could. When they spat on it, rejected it, turned their back on you, tried to compete with you, got in a different relationship to try to make you feel jealous and insecure so you'd come back and be in a relationship the way they wanted to be in it. You're no longer stressed about it. You've given it to the divine. And in the judgment card, you have made a decision that you, in your Leo energy again, you've risen above all of it. It's like you can play your petty, emotionally manipulative mind games. I'm moving forward and I'm standing up for myself and I'm defending myself. And I have become, in the Nine of Pentacles Virgo energy, I have become independent of you and your game playing. Then we go from Nine of Pentacles to Seven of Pentacles. You've let go of a Two of Pentacles. no longer putting in hard work and effort to try to bring some sort of balance to the situation. It takes two. And if people turn their back to you, are defensive, want to keep repeating patterns of the past because they have conflict about love, then it's like, we accept that the divine made people with free will, and that's their free will choice. Peace. I'm going to consider what I'm going to invest in next. And you and the people like you that are in high vibe Virgo energy, they're going to take the lesson they were meant to learn from that life experience and add it to their foundation. The Taurus Hierophant can be about, that foundation by which we make decisions in our life. And you're going to take the lesson you've learned and add it to your foundation so that when you make decisions moving forward, you have gained more insight and wisdom. Sadly, the other people are cold-hearted. They might be all concerned about trying to get abundance in the world in whatever way they can get it. If that's backstabbing and betraying others, competing with other people, turning their back on people, well, they sadly view that as a form of abundance to them. Like, look what I did. It's like, yeah, it's really nothing to be proud of. And you'll realize that one day. But right now, people either see the truth that life is about love, or they're living an illusion and they're not seeing the truth. So, and some people make it all about money and materialism. Some make it all about, no, I need someone to indulge me. I'm like a child. I don't know. Are they so self-indulged that they think that it's beneath them for them to, I don't know, they think that they're so full of themselves and their pride and ego that for them to offer love is beneath them? Other people are supposed to offer them love. They don't have to offer other people love. Guess that would definitely be like a narcissist. And for others, they just want to be in relationships they want to be in karmic relationships where it's not just and fair and balanced. They want to be in relationships with people who indulge them. I'll be like a 5 or 8-year-old. I'll be pouty, whiny, selfish, greedy, all focused on money and image and status, or my emotional defensiveness. And I want to find someone and repeat patterns of the past where someone loves me like a mom or a dad, and they just perpetually indulge me like a small child. Oh, and I'm lazy and greedy and selfish on top of it. It's like, well, good luck. Being your cold-hearted, emotionally defensive self, I hope it works out for you. But you've decided, the Taurus high vibe energy too is about walking the talk. If you say that you believe in love, you believe that the divine has a plan for your life, you don't believe that you're meant to be in relationships with people who are selfish and greedy or toxic or rude or unkind or whatever, you're going to walk the talk and you're going to put your faith and your belief into practice. You're going to offer people love and respect and kindness. You're going to have hope and faith and belief in your future. And in the 9 of Pentacles, you're going to be emotionally self-sovereign, emotionally independent of this former relationship that you could have been in, whatever it was. And you're taking responsibility for your own general state of emotional well-being and happiness. Because also, if someone had been in shadow before, they're kind of codependent on other people for their sense of emotional general well-being. Like, again, if somebody here, let's read it from the perspective of someone. If someone before had a lot of inner conflict about moving away either from their past, someone in their past, a Scorpio or a mother figure, or they always kind of in their shadow energy, didn't think they had to grow or learn or mature or be just and fair in relationships, maybe prideful and egotistical. If any of those people, they did think their dream was going to come in from being whatever that situation was, and they were defensive. They were trying to balance out their emotions because some people are so afraid of being betrayed and backstabbed. So they think it's just and fair in their mind for them to act the way they do. Well, when people call judgment on them and say, no, I am not going to be with you in a relationship when you act like that, and I am going to become independent of that, then, it's kind of like leaving a 5 or 8-year-old in the kitchen having a tantrum on the kitchen floor. When you say, no, I am not going to be in a relationship like that, I'm going to walk away, and eventually you're going to have to get exhausted and tired out and get your butt up off the ground and deal with your own inner conflict and prideful, egotistical, emotionally defensive nature. Because I'm moving on. Some of you might invest in a Taurus or a new relationship or someone who's aligned with happiness, because that's what you're aligned with. The other people are more aligned with the world. And now those people, when no one is indulging them anymore in their poor behavior, that's when they've got to consider, am I willing to add to my view of life? Their choice is to keep doing what they've done, where they basically, in the 9 of Cups, it could be viewed like drinking, they want to emotionally indulge themselves in relationships. That's what they've thought up to this point. And that was their view of life. In my shadowy Taurus energy, maybe this person believes that they have a certain status or image. Maybe they're surrounded by luxury in life, because the Taurus earth sign energy is about putting in hard work and effort to be surrounded by luxury in life. And we can all tap into that. But if this person has things of the world that they think people look up to and admire them for, it could be looks, it could be money, it could be image, it could be status, that they maybe before thought that they didn't have to learn their lessons. They have this image, they have this status, they have these looks, they have this money and materialism. They didn't have to invest in learning any damn lesson. They have these things. People are supposed to make them offers, and then this person just indulges themselves in the relationship. And if anybody did tell them that they needed to learn some lessons, maybe about what it truly means to take responsibility for being emotionally self-sovereign, where you know how to nourish and nurture yourself and fill your own emotional cup, so that you're not just sitting here over here all prideful and egotistical, waiting for someone to make you an offer so that you could indulge yourself in them emotionally, sexually, pridefully, egotistically, whatever. When the people in their life say, I want to move forward in love, equal give and take, where I give you some cups of emotion and love and you give me some too. This person's like, what? Why would I ever have to lower myself to treat you like an equal partner in the world? I am someone to be looked up and admired. And if you are not willing to offer your resources to me, where I can indulge myself with you, well, I'll just go make a love offer to someone else, because I'm very competitive and very prideful and egotistical. And I'll just expect my dreams to come in with someone else who will indulge me in my dream because I'm defensive. Because I'm very afraid of being backstabbed and betrayed by anyone, and lowering my standards enough to treat other people as I would like to be treated, you common folk. And I think it's just and fair. I think my dream will come into reality with someone who's willing to indulge me. They'll just balance out their emotions. And I'll think it's just and fair that they're the one having to balance out their emotions to be in a relationship with me. Because I don't want to give any thought to being held accountable for my actions for the fact that I'm defensive. You know, I don't want my partner to become independent. I want them to be codependent on me because I'm the Hierophant and I have the status and image or money or looks. You know, if my partner ever starts to become more independent, seems to start wanting to learn or grow or mature themselves, I will become defensive to them. Because I don't know that I want to invest in people who are probably growing their own foundation and their own sense of emotional self-sovereignty and happiness, because then they're going to want me to do the same thing. And I don't want to become independent from my worldly, egotistical, prideful, emotionally defensive self. Because I have a lot of inner conflict about coming from a foundation of love. I have things of the world. People should want to be in a relationship with me. Oh my gosh. So, if you knew anybody like that in your life, those people are still defending a dream they have. They expect, they're waiting for someone to come in and indulge them. It might be causing them, probably because they're very prideful and egotistical. And they're maybe having a lot of inner conflict right now because maybe no one is making them an offer. It's like, I really thought if I sat here and waited and looked like victorious in the world and was defensive, that it would cause a lot of inner conflict in other people, or maybe a lot of competition in other people, that other people would want to come be in a relationship with me. Or because I'm turning my back on them and I'm not moving forward or making any action towards them, that it would cause them inner conflict, so they would come make me an offer and want to be in a relationship with me. And it's like, yeah, nobody might be making an offer to this person. So they're just trying to balance out their emotions, and they're probably not trying to show the world that they feel backstabbed and betrayed, like, shit, their plan didn't work. And they're trying to maintain their balance to present themselves as being a just and fair person in the world. But for some of them, when a card is in reverse, it can be extreme. So 9 of Swords in reverse. I'm going to look up the cheat sheet on that one. Well, this one doesn't really say that, but in 9 of Swords, they could be extremely anxious and stressed. This person could be very stressed out that people in their life are staying independent of them. And this person could be very defensive that they're single right now, because sometimes I think people in their shadowy energy, they don't like being single. That, in their mind and how they view their own weird way of viewing the world, is that it doesn't look as prestigious to be single. So right now, they could be very defensive for some of them, they could be defensive that they're single. For some of them, they could be deciding right now that, well, I'm going to let go of being stressed about this whole situation, and I'm going to be in my pride and ego, and I'm going to stay single, and I'm going to work on my money and materialism. Because they have no one to juggle right now, they might just be offering their time, energy, and effort and resources to surround themselves by luxury in life, work on their image and their status and their prestige in the community, and deciding they're going to be happy with that because they're too prideful and egotistical to make a love offer to anyone else. And they're too prideful and egotistical to think that life is about love. They're apparently the most important person in the universe. There is no higher power, no force of love higher than them. They must be the center of the universe. And they could be very cold-hearted. For other people could have thought, because they were maybe either had inner conflict or they're very competitive, they could have thought their dreams were going to come into reality with someone they got into a relationship with, and they were defending that relationship. For some of them, it could have been a Scorpio or just someone who they thought was going to indulge them in this competitive energy of worldliness, like, oh, you're going to give me the money, the status, the image I want. And I'm very competitive in the 3D world, and I kind of have a conflict about being emotionally vulnerable, so I'll get in a relationship with you. But it could have ended up that the person they got in a relationship was kind of defensive too. Maybe they were in shadowy energy and they're kind of defensive to balancing things out with this person, to bring this person the outcome of justice that they wanted to have. Maybe the person they went and got in a relationship was afraid of being backstabbed, or maybe because the person they got in a relationship was also defensive, maybe that person backstabbed them, but they're trying not to show people that. And so because the person was defensive and might have backstabbed them, this person is trying to balance out their emotions. And yeah, I guess I would say they're defensive right now to being single. And so what some of them want to do is to get into a relationship where they can indulge themselves. So I would say some of them aren't, well, maybe by the end of this sequence here, they will make an offer to someone to get in a relationship, maybe make an offer to a Taurus, maybe make an offer to someone who seems hardworking, grounded, practical, maybe someone who's surrounded by luxury in life. And they will go emotionally indulge themselves with that person. They might be considering it right now, but if this is a very prideful, egotistical person, for some of them, they could get into a new relationship because they are very competitive in the 3D world. For others, they're going to get in a relationship based on worldliness with the Taurus Hierophant energy and figure that will bring them emotional wish fulfillment because they have a lot of inner conflict about moving forward in relationships that are loving. So hopefully you and all your loved ones are balancing out your emotions, maintaining justice. You're not stressed. You are taking creative, inspired action, being held accountable for your actions in your relationships. You're both, you and whoever, all the wonderful people in your life, are being independent and self-sovereign. You're people who are very careful about what you invest in because you know there's consequences to your actions. Where people from their shadow side, they don't think they're going to have to be held accountable for their actions. If nobody knows, and if they can create an illusion about it, then, maybe they've put a lot of work and effort to have a certain status and image in the community. So they think that people won't see the truth about them. You other people and whoever you're in relationships with or friendship groups with, you're all people who are careful about what you invest in. And you people do learn your lessons and you keep offering your resources to keep building on the foundation of the relationships you're in, because Taurus energy, Hierophant energy, is about relationships and marriages, because you do want to be emotionally fulfilled and happy in the relationships and friendships and work dynamics that you have. When you high vibe people experience any conflict in your relationships, or your pride or your ego or your competitive nature gets kicked up at all, you people offer love to it so that you can keep moving forward in your life. And sadly, the people in shadowy Virgo energy turn their back on balancing out their emotions to bring justice to situations. They make the decision that instead of giving it any thought, they're going to be defensive to people in their life that are independent and strong and brave. And they're just going to continue offering to continue to invest in their view of life, which is about money and image and status and materialism or self defensiveness. And sadly, they are going to be a very cold-hearted person. They just, you either live more from your mind, your heart, than your mind, and this person chooses to live all the way up in their mind. So I did a random flip of the quote calendar, and you got, the lure of the distant and the difficult is deceptive. The great opportunity is where you are. June 25th. Sometimes people in their life, this person, in order for these people to move forward in their life, they'd have to work through their fears and their insecurities about becoming independent and taking responsibility for their own sense of worth and value. Learning how to nurture themselves so that they can feel stable and secure within themselves. So they're not always looking to people outside of them for people to hold them in this high regard. And are people really telling them every day? The whole thing is, when you're in your shadow and up in your mind, it's all this illusion of kind of like what you tell yourself. This person might think like, oh, everybody holds me in such high regard. Who the hell knows what people think of them, really? It's their own little fantasy land they live in. When they have the opportunity to go live their own unique life, but they're so stressed about, part of it might be to start learning how to nurture themselves, to quit being defensive, to look at life as an adventure to be lived. But they'd have to take creative action to balance out their emotions to get the justice they deserve. It's just and fair for them to learn lessons. It's not just and fair for them to be in pain and heartbreak and fear and insecurity, but the only one who can fight that battle for them is themselves. And instead of working through their fears and insecurities and taking creative action to stand up for themselves in their own life and become independent of the world and independent of other foundations in their life, and tell people, think what you want to think. Excuse me. If people are independent and they're coming from a place of love, if you're offering love and respect and kindness to the people, why would we be fearful of what people would say about what we're doing? But some people have been brought up to be so concerned with what the world thinks of them and that the world will judge them. With the judgment card, this person is so stressed about people judging them if they were to truly stand up for themselves and stand up for the things they believe in and become more independent. It just causes them so much stress. They decide, I'm going to just be defensive to being independent. I'm going to conform to this world. I'm going to conform to other foundations in my life that want me to conform to them. And I'll just balance out my emotions about it. And I'll just keep investing in this worldly way of viewing life, or this very stubborn structure of maybe family or friendship group, whatever foundation they have that kind of runs their life and is very, Hierophant energy in a worldly sense is we're very stubborn, we're very prideful, we don't change. And if they've decided I'm not willing to stand up to that and claim my own life, well, they've decided, I think I'm going to keep investing in that, and I think I'll be happy. Well, the only thing is, the universe is never going to quit trying to appeal to their sense of self-love, and they're always going to have this inner conflict within them. That's like their karma. You can be as cold-hearted as you want. You can keep aligning with the karmic people in your life who also maybe are cold-hearted, who are selfish and greedy and emotionally manipulative and kind of cold-hearted. They don't want you to go live your life the way you deserve to go live it, because they maybe didn't go live their life. So they want you to be in the same boat as them. Misery loves company. Let's everybody be cold-hearted. Some people get so caught up in their fears of the conflict and fighting that could occur, and maybe there wouldn't really be that much conflict if people were to really go live their life. People got to deal with the reality you present them. People need to take the advantage of the opportunities of where they presently are to be in the energy of love and joy and happiness, and let the rest of the world deal with their inner conflict about the fact that you're moving forward loving yourself. So there you go, Virgo. I wish you peace, love, and joy. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.